The fire of God hits me so intensely, I start running, and it felt like liquid gasoline was lighting me on fire, and I fell out under the power of God. So when I was 15 years old, I was totally new to anything revolving the Holy Spirit, the presence of God, but I really didn't have a strong relationship with the Lord. And I remember one time a friend of mine invited me to go to a Pentecostal church, and I was really freaked out because it was like totally not what I was used to. But let me tell you, what happened in that prayer meeting was a very powerful thing that it changed my life. And in that service, I remember the Spirit of God was really touching people. I saw demons coming out of people getting filled with the power of the Holy Spirit. And I remember I was standing there, the preacher looked at me and he said, "Where is your mom and dad?" And I looked around and I was like, "They're not here." And he said, "You are the one that I'm supposed to do this for." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" So he had his jacket and he gave it to me and he said, "Woe to you if you drop this jacket, don't let it go." So I had no idea. So I held on to it for dear life. And at the end of the service, he starts praying for people to receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit. And I remember he looked straight at me and he says, "Did you drop the jacket?" And I said, "No." He said, "Put it on." So I was like, okay. So I put it on and I was like, "Oh, this is very unusual, right?" He said, "Now you're called to the ministry." And he said, "I'm going to pray for you." So he began to anoint me with oil and he prayed for me, brought me up at the front. And he said, "Have you ever been filled with the fire of the Holy Spirit?" And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." And he said, "The power of the Holy Spirit is going to come upon you." He laid his hands on me and nothing happened. And all of a sudden he looks at me, he turns around and he says, "Go around the sanctuary of the church 3 times. And on the 3rd time, the power of the Spirit will hit you." And I was like, "What on earth is this?" So I walked the first time around the pulpit, nothing happened. The second time around the pulpit, nothing happened. The 3rd time, the moment I touch the pulpit, the fire of God hits me so intensely, I start running, and it felt like liquid gasoline was lighting me on fire, and I fell out under the power of God. And that was the time that the Lord used years later. I was going through depression. I was going through a really hard time, and I wanted to let go of my relationship with the Lord because the temptations and the issues and the cares of life were so intense. And I remember parking in the car in a parking lot, weeping, agonizing uncontrollably. And I'm like, "God, I feel like giving up in life." And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit brings that memory to me. And he said, "Don't let go of the jacket." And it was as if God was telling me, there is a plan, a purpose that I have for you, but you can't let go of it. And maybe you're watching today and you feel like you're wanting to lose hope. You're wanting to give up. Don't let go of what God has placed in front of you, because if you keep on holding on to the promises of God, there's going to come a time where you will put that on. The promises of God will overtake you and you will accelerate. So if you're discouraged and you feel like the weight of the world is on you, I just want to encourage you, don't let go of the jacket. Don't let go of the things that God has called you to.